Good morning and welcome back to another
Good
version, episode,
Exciting.
continuation. I need more synonyms. Help me out here.
Splendiferous. I don't know.
That's not a synonym.
Well, this is an episodic.
Episodic works.
I'm so tired. I thought you were still giving descriptive words.
No, I gave up on description. It's
Oh.
not as much fun.
My bad.
But today we're gonna be talking about E3 and then how I like wording it, just because it's fun to say it. The advent of AR. Go back in
Are you
your
having-
place.
Having issues there?
I'm having a lot of issues. My mic keeps leaning towards me slowly.
Most of the issues have nothing to do with his mind.
What are you doing?
Yeah. For some reason it's loose. Oh well, whatever. It'll just dance. Wants to. But yeah. So, what did anyone want to talk about E3? Trevor, I know that you don't keep up with it. Maybe
Did you
saw
watch
something.
any
I
of
don't
it
know.
at all?
No,
For about 4 minutes, and then I fell asleep.
seems legit.
I'm excited for Luigi's Mansion 3.
Right?
That looks
Guigi.
yeah, and like the whole slam function where you actually do damage on
It
them.
just
Throwing them
reminded me
around.
of the Hulk when
What?
I watched that.
Oh.
Yeah, you didn't watch that part.
No. I breezed
So
through
basically,
most
he
of it.
takes the ghost, and as he's sucking him up, he like slams him back and it's like the
That's-
Hulk with Loki, and just slams him back
Yeah.
and forth. It's the only thing
So
I
you
thought
can
of
role play in Luigi's Mansion
Yeah.
as the Hulk.
as the Hulk. Yeah, because
Yeah.
Luigi's green.
And you're green.
Yeah.
All right. There's also that 4-player mode.
yeah,
From Dark Moon.
yeah, 3D, yeah.
We should totally do that. I'll buy one of those streaming DSs for the stream, and we can do the multiplayer and just stream one up on the TV, so people can see the mayhem of it.
It's
It'll be fun.
Is it
'Cause
like
we all have
is it like
Darkman
a
now.
battle royale or
It's
something?
like similar to that version on came with the Wii. Yeah, you do. It came with your Wii U.
I don't know.
From what I remember from the 3DS, like they would have like seasonal characters. Like during football season, they would have like football characters,
Really?
and then they would have like Halloween characters or stuff like that. And then you would try to
Mm.
capture as many ghosts as you could before time ran out. Or
I did not
something.
know that. Are you talking about the one where you're in the hotel and
Yeah.
you're competing with other players?
Yeah, or you could play together.
Okay.
Good morning, Shadow.
I think you could play together.
I know you can in the new one. By the way, the Luigi's Mansion remake on the 3DS. If anyone's interested, $23.
Which one?
The remake,
Oh, okay.
where you get to see Luigi's Mansion in the way it was intended by its director in 3D, stereoscopic. Yes, the GameCube could do stereoscopic 3D. A lot of people don't know that.
So I didn't look at like any of the other like I only like watched the Nintendo.
You really want to talk about E3? I'm the only one that watched most of it. Man,
I watched all of the Nintendo.
no, you're okay.
I
but
watched all the
She
Nintendo
was
stuff.
insistent.
Yeah, that's because I watched all the Nintendo stuff. That's the only thing I'm interested in. And the Final Fantasy VII thing. Is
Yeah, the
cool.
Final Fantasy VII remake. Did you watch that trailer?
Well, I watched that trailer like 2 weeks ago with you guys.
No.
No, they
the
have
new
another one.
They revealed Tifa in gameplay.
Oh, I didn't.
People
realize,
went nuts.
I didn't realize that was a new one.
It actually looks really good.
I'll have to watch that later.
So you saw the one with Tifa?
No, I didn't.
Oh, okay. So they announced finally that the first game takes place where I've been saying it would take place for a long time, and everyone's like, that's too short. It's cutting off at Midgar. I kind of figured out, though, like the way, the scope of the environment they made. If they did a shot-for-shot remake of the game, yeah, they could pull it off. But with the size of the environment, I kept thinking, if you're going to be traversing that in a normal general fashion, then you're going to spend a lot of time in Midgar just moving about. And it seems that maybe they felt the same, so instead of just making you slog through Midgar as part of the game,
Yeah.
they just made it the game, and then they build a huge base for the story. What it appears to be. But that also means that you'll not get to Calm, and you will not get to your first, your second introduction to the faceless Sephiroth, where he kills the Midgar Zolom up on the spine. So I was kind of hoping that's where it would end, just before you cross into the mountain caves. But I was close. I was very close. I said it'd probably be Midgar because I always spend a lot of time in Midgar because it's just fun building that world, and then just the fun of opening to that big map is kind of. There's a whole other game here.
Yeah.
I don't know.
I still don't know how I feel about the episode. I think doing.
I
It's
did
silly.
see one legitimate concern that they're going to change mechanics between episodes.
Oh, please no.
Yeah.
Please no. It's already. So I was talking to somebody else, and kind of like how we were talking how the mechanics like a mix between like Kingdom Hearts
I
and
like
Final
it.
Fantasy 15 and Final Fantasy 13. I don't know.
It's not really close
I
to
don't-
15.
I don't know how I'm gonna feel about it.
I'm gonna feel fine with it because you get to choose. You can do an action based system, or you can actually do that slow mo turn based. We'll see how it goes. It does look fun at the very least. First boss battle dragged on quite a bit. That was a little. They're swapping things around so that even if you're an old player, things are gonna feel fresh, unexpected. So I'm curious to see that they just maintain the spirit and the core of the story. That's fine by me. But I don't know. A few other things changing around E3. No Sony, so that was interesting. We got to see.
I think that was in response to what you were talking about.
Oh yes, Midgar is 2 Blu-rays. It is 100 gigs of data, and while everyone is so impressed with that fact, I'm not really. Just because Final Fantasy 15 is 120 gigs on the PC. It seems to be more asset data than anything, which to me would hint that it's going to be a 4K release. I hope, because it is coming to the Xbox, but it is not coming. Let's see.
They probably won't.
It won't, they don't. They didn't talk about the Xbox version though. That's the weird thing. And they said there would be an Xbox version.
It's probably gonna release later, so that's why they're hyping up, or they're just talking about the PS4
Yeah,
version.
one of our friends totally thought it was on PC, and he was hyping me about it, and I'm like, "You're gonna get a PlayStation, right?" And he goes, "What?" I'm like, "That's a console exclusive." He goes, "What?" He was like, "No." It was
Probably
pretty great.
for a while anyway.
He's a PC Master Race guy, so when he found out it was only kind of
Slapped him
pissed
down
in
a-
his post toasties.
Yeah.
Put him down a peg.
I'm just curious to see, like, you got The Witcher 3 coming to the Switch. You got your
Oh, that's right. Yeah, I never played the Witcher series.
a lot of
though.
interesting games. Like Astral Chains looks all right. And the
E3.
Breath of the Wild 2
Oh
the
my
sequel.
gosh, Breath of the Wild 2. I'm so excited.
You didn't see that?
You did. It's at
I'm
the.
not excited about it. I'm not a Zelda head.
It's so
that
good.
game's just fun in
Breath.
general.
Even our lovely moderator liked Breath of the Wild, and he doesn't like Zelda games.
He hates Zelda on principle. There's no actual reason. And I'm not even sure what his principle is, but it seems to be that his hate is based on a principle that Zelda is bad.
He just doesn't like the games.
I think that's it. Just
He just
Zelda's
doesn't
bad.
like. Yeah, he just doesn't like
Hmm.
playing them.
Oh,
But we made him play Breath of the Wild, and he actually enjoyed it because it was such like an open world. It was so different. And now that they're coming out with the second one, everybody's hoping they're actually going to make Zelda playable for once.
I don't care if they do or not.
I think they're
I
going
want
to.
to see an expansion on the story. I want to see that because the lore in that game is actually a lot of fun. Running around, people hinting at things that used to be here, climbing old ruins, pretty great. I tamed the God of the Mountain. I'm pretty awesome. But yeah. So that's really all that stood out from E3 to me. It felt more exciting in the moment, but like.
Cadence of Hyrule came out. Speaking of
Yeah,
Zelda, Cadence of
there's
Hyrule
that.
came out. I don't know if anyone's ever played the Crypt of the Necrodancer. It's a really good indie game.
I've watched people play it.
It's a lot of fun. It's very difficult though. Like for such a simple game.
Don't play it in the room with somebody else.
Why? The music?
Crypt of the Necrodancer.
Wow.
No. You can play the Legend of Zelda one all you want. That's fine. Music. There's a Crypt of the Necrodancer. I'm not a big fan of the music.
I love the music.
It's not bad, and I could see if you're playing the game and going in time with it.
Yeah.
It's fine, but to somebody sitting on the outside not playing the game, it is an annoying, repetitive tone over and over again.
Well, I know what I'm going to be looking up.
Okay.
for the road trip.
I mean, like,
I'll bring
It's
mine
gonna
too.
be on the
We'll just
speaker.
put it like giant Bluetooth speakers
Yeah.
and just play it.
So
throughout
we
the
can't do
whole
anything
car.
about it. You can't turn off
Yeah.
the radio. It's our speaker.
I'll get a
Um,
signal jammer.
Oh,
Well, nobody will have cell phones
But
on that.
basically, what it is a game where it's all rhythm based. You have to go
Hmm.
as you go to the beat. You have to every beat you have to. That's the only time you can move. Each enemy has their own pattern that you have to learn as you go through. So, like there's certain attack patterns that you have to learn, and they incorporated that into Zelda, so it's the same concept only with like remixed Zelda music, and it's what are you doing? And it's fantastic. It's a great game. It's not quite as simplistic as Necrodancer is, because in Necrodancer you're literally just going through the different levels. In this one there's actually a world map like there is in like the old Zelda games.
Okay.
And
And then you have and then the dungeons are on the inside, so you like go down like
Yeah.
hidden stairs or into caves or
It's
like
about
a
a 5-hour
boss
game.
room, and you do it that way instead. It's really neat. I enjoy it a whole lot.
It's
I've
about
been
5 hours. So again, the dungeons randomize every time.
yeah, there are different ones that randomize. I'm so excited though. Like yeah, I want to keep playing it.
I mean, that one looked like fun. Just Crypt of the Necrodancer, I could see me having fun if I'm playing it, but that music does not bode well for someone listening on the outside. Because you'll be running around for 30 minutes and it's the same song in a
I
loop.
love it. Shadow did buy it. Sounds like figuring out the mechanics still. It's a little tricky. Especially if you haven't played the original game. But once you get the hang of it,
Once you get the swing.
once you get the rhythm down, it's a lot easier. So I enjoy it a whole lot. It's a neat thing that Nintendo let an indie company use one of their
I actually
licenses.
really like that one
That's
too.
I can't wait for the soundtrack to come out. Like that's like the part I'm most excited about.
Anyway, so I kind of want to talk about games that people ignored real quick. We got a little bit of time.
Which ones?
Oh, don't
So-
forget Animal Crossing.
Oh yeah, and then Animal Crossing. Did you see that?
Gotta get you
It-
into games.
Mm.
You're just gonna come over and just gonna play a bunch of games.
Yeah, Borderlands 2, for instance.
Borderlands 2. I don't know. I'm more excited for Animal Crossing.
Yeah, Animal Crossing has been delayed to March because Nintendo doesn't want to crunch their. So,
Understandable.
no, I like that. I like that a company is saying, look, we'll put the game out when it's ready. We're not going to crunch our people to do it because, I mean, unhappy employees produce not great results. So, that game, I already know I don't want. I want it, but I'm not buying it for my own health because it takes two of my favorite things. It's crafting in a game, which I have some obsession with just collecting resources, and then putting them together so you get to build your own town from scratch, and it eventually becomes a bustling little settlement. And I'm kind of like, I will never put this down, so I'll just watch other people play it and live vicariously.
You're gonna end up
through them.
buying it.
Probably, but I'm going to avoid it as long as I can.
It's gonna be like a day. I need it.
But
I'm gonna run to the store.
that was a good mention. But one of the big things I thought was interesting is Nintendo did so well at presenting new games, showing us some of their other games and games in development that I never once, and this was like all people talked about last year, I never really once heard people ask, where's Metroid? Because I know we got an announcement earlier this year, but like, or where is the Shin Megami Tensei 5?
Oh, Atlas. I read up on that. They're doing their own thing.
Oh yeah,
So it's not like you don't have to worry about that.
I
but
didn't hear about it anywhere.
you even read about it.
Like I didn't see anything on it. I figured
Yeah,
Shin
it's-
Megami Tensei 5 would be big news if they showed anything.
They're not ready to show anything, so they're not gonna.
Yeah, it's been announced in the first year of the Switch. So like I was just surprised because everyone's all like, "Where are these games? Where are these games? Where are those games?" And like that was last year's E3, and then this year they're kind of like, I forgot those things existed
Yeah.
because it was a good showing.
Yeah. Well, instead of Metroid, we're getting Contra.
Yeah, I saw that. I wonder if that's the unreleased game.
Probably. Probably half done. and half the battle is trying to figure out what you have to do to beat it.
Yeah.
What programming do you have to do?
What cheat code do you have to put
Yes.
in so you don't die?
What is a cheat code? I don't understand.
Oh, that's the other thing that I think kind of fell behind everything was they released the Mana series.
Oh my
Seiken
god.
Densetsu 3 finally
People are
released.
complaining about that.
Why?
$40 is too expensive for those 3 games.
It's 3 games.
That sounds reasonable. That's less than $10 per game.
It's Final Fantasy Adventure from the Game Boy as we knew it in America. It's Secret of Mana, which is easily a $100 game on the SNES, or you can buy it on the eShop. And then it comes with the unreleased game, the sequel on the Super Nintendo, that we never got. So they localized the game. They give you the 2 other games with it, and they're selling it at $40.
That doesn't sound
And
bad.
people are upset. I was like, when we went to Japan
Yeah.
a while back, it was like what, $70, $80?
Like 50, 60.
No, I think it was 70 because I think it was
No.
6,900 yen.
it was like 50 or 60.
It was still expensive.
It was-
So if
yeah.
anything,
For,
my point
for
being,
an older game, it was expensive.
I mean, it was new on the Switch. Well, my point being is
oh
that,
yeah, their version was. I thought you were talking about like the old copies.
no, I'm talking about like the Switch version.
Oh
that
no, that
Japan
was
got.
like
Yeah,
that was like
$70.
That was like $70
So,
easily.
the fact that we get it for 40 and everyone's upset, I'm kind of like, you got a localization that wasn't done priorly, and you get the games at $40. I'm kind of lost for words. I don't know how to say something not nice.
They also did announce that they're redoing Seiken Densetsu 3.
Yes, that's pretty cool.
in
That
an
actually looked
HD.
pretty neat.
I got really close to buying the trio, and I was like, no, I'll wait for the HD release.
Well, I'll buy the trio. And that's a really pretty.
I
Super Nintendo
so
game.
I did play some of that game back when I had an emulator on my PC.
I have it on my phone. You have it on your phone because I have it on
Seiken
my phone.
Densetsu 3?
Secret of Mana, yes.
The third one?
Oh, not
The
that
third one. I'm talking
Oh.
about the third one.
Oh, when you say emulator and on thing, I don't
No,
think patches
Seiken
anymore.
Densetsu 3. I have that on as an emulator.
Ah, yes, you have the game as an emulator.
Yes. yeah,
That's a new thing.
I'll throw this
In
at
case you guys don't know, games as emulators is a new thing. You can only emulate that game. Very special, very
I'm
focused.
gonna slap you.
It translates on the fly. Look into this thing. It's a real thing. I promise you, it's not fake news.
Slap you. After the stream. Bonus stream. Steven.
Bitch slap Steven. Okay.
I'm tired. We got like what, 4 hours of sleep?
Something like that.
I'm very
So-
sleepy. That's
I think this is really just not a whole lot for me to talk about with you.
streaming
anymore.
slaps would get views, so
I'm
we're
sure.
gonna do it.
I mean,
we're gonna
Phil-
advertise it, and that's just gonna be like an hour of me just backhanding you.
Apparently, Philip DeFranco's metrics show that when he threatens to throat punch his audience, his likes go. I mean, there's something to be said for that kind of format, I guess.
I'm trying to think
we-
of what other games released.
Well, we have the more Smash characters, which I'm with
that's
the,
right. There was so much stuff they have. I forgot about
yeah,
that.
with the Dragon Warrior characters being added in. I'm surprised it took so long to do that, since that's like one of the original IPs for Nintendo.
Square IP, but they took it away from Nintendo.
I know, but like the original games were on Nintendo, so I'm surprised it took this long to finally come back around.
Because I think
It
they're
is
actually doing
licensee.
every main title, main characters. That means they're pulling from the
Oh.
PlayStation games, from
There's a lot of
any game that has
licensing.
released subsequently.
You think they're doing every character?
I think they're doing all the main characters because it
Holy
looks like there's
crap.
going to be like eight Echo Fighters for
Holy
that guy.
Yeah.
They should all have the same
lot.
base move set. It looked like their magic either has a different skin on it,
Yeah,
or it's a slightly different ability.
They're all different
that's
skins.
gonna be crazy.
I think they're just styled differently, but I think they all do
If they
the
do the
same
same way
thing.
as they've done a lot of like Echo Fighters, like Cloud's not really an Echo Fighter, but he's got 2 forms.
Yeah.
But each form has different animations. So
That's
if
what
they
I
do that,
mean.
that'll be pretty cool.
That's what I mean. Like, I think they're gonna have the same attack overall. It's just
Mhm.
gonna be a different animation,
All right.
different skin. Banjo Kazooie though.
Yeah, I have that written down
I am super excited. I've been whenever that was actually really good. Whenever kind of sound like Goof a little bit though.
Yeah, it did.
whenever Nintendo had that poll for which character did you want in Smash,
Goku.
that's what my vote went for, was for Banjo-Kazooie.
I was
like,
hoping they put
Banjo.
Chrono Trigger. Chrono.
Oh, that was my other vote. Yeah, it was Chrono. Which, I mean, they still have time.
And 2 more
They
character
still have
slots.
time. I would love. So yeah, those are the 2 characters that I wanted them to have in the most. I wanted Banjo-Kazooie, wanted Chrono. So I'm super excited. At least one of them got in. If Chrono doesn't make it, that's okay.
He'll be the next one.
That'd be super awesome.
Did you watch the little intro video for Banjo-Kazooie?
Yeah, with Donkey Kong.
So
Yeah.
I thought
Yeah.
that was a really cool callback because that was the same era of those games.
Mm-hmm.
The fact that they were sitting there waiting for their old friend to come back, I thought that was kind of
Yeah. Shadow says he was wondering if this could be a return for Banjo-Kazooie as a property for Nintendo. I don't think Microsoft is gonna let go of that,
well, it could be a joint collaboration kind of thing.
despite the fact that they ruined it.
I mean,
Microsoft ruined Banjo-Kazooie.
I guess
They destroyed it. If they made another Banjo-Kazooie game, not hardly anybody would ever buy it.
I mean, technically, Rare still built the game.
So bad. I mean, Microsoft had control over what happened in it.
No, Microsoft's just been kind of abusing Rare.
That's
Like,
what I mean.
Rare's a Cinderella. She'll get her dance.
It's just Banjo-Kazooie deserves so much better.
Maybe.
Did you play Nuts and Bolts? It's a terrible game.
Did you finish the second game?
I got most of the way through. I liked
No, the
Banjo-Kazooie.
ending. The ending apparently was pretty closed for itself.
Banjo-Kazooie 2.
Banjo-Tooie. Yeah. But yes,
I want Banjo 3.
no.
Yes.
So with the E3 out of the way, because we're hitting our. Right. Get your
Sure,
last
that's cool.
remarks on your E3.
I believe so. I can't think. I feel like there was more
Bud's
to
got
it,
a note.
and I can't think.
What you got, Bud?
I mean, the only thing I have left is that Marvel game.
Oh yes, the Avengers or the Marvel game for the Switch.
I think. Well, it was in the Nintendo review. So
Ultimate Alliance.
yeah, that one.
That looks fun.
Yeah.
I really want to get that game. It makes me think of Genosha.
Which one? The
Mhm.
Marvel game?
Yeah.
Genosha.
Isn't that like it wasn't just like a beat 'em up game?
Yeah.
You had to go to Genosha.
The little circles after we were playing Crystal Chronicles remind me of.
Yeah. In Genosha.
I like Marvel. That
Do you
That'll
like Genosha?
the more you say it, the more.
You remember that, right? You don't. When we were playing it on the original Xbox.
Yeah, they're Marvel.
What is it? Who's the guy that plays Xavier?
Oh, Patrick Stewart.
Yeah, he
Sir
did the
Patrick
voice
Stewart.
for it, and like for some reason in the dialogue in the opening of the Ultimate Alliance 2 on the Xbox, it says Genosha in every other phrase,
I don't
and he's got
remember.
that Genosha, like in that same just intonation every time, and it became just like a running gag for me that night. I just kept saying it.
I
I don't know.
I'm gonna kick your ass in Genosha. Yeah, I don't know. I felt like it was very, very stood out against everything else. Like,
we need to get that on the soundboard. When we get a soundboard. Someone's on.
Genosha. Welcome to Genosha. Yeah, that would be fun.
I can't think of anything else for E3 though. I feel like there was more, and I can't remember what it all was.
It was very forgettable.
There was just so much at once. It
I
was
wasn't
like, here's
anticipating.
this, here's that, here's this. It's like giving a kid a whole bunch of pieces of candy. They forgot what the last one. What was the third candy you ate? I don't know.
I won't give.
Oh,
I'll eat it.
Jesus.
Trick or treat, collect me treats.
Honestly, what Halloween is all about. Is
Well, I mean,
making
the
the kid
trick
go
i-
collect candy so
well,
you can eat half of it
That's
later.
the trick. I take the candy.
Halloween's the perfect opportunity to teach your kids about taxes.
Uh-huh.
They go out and get all the candy, and you collect an income tax,
10%.
and you explain to them that this is how taxes work.
This is
For the
this
rest
is,
of your
this
life.
is your life now.
Exactly.
Welcome to the real world, jackass.
Always calculate 90% of what you have when yours.
Link's Awakening and Sword. No, I remember Sword and Shield, but Link's Awakening they already announced it. But they did add that extra.
And we spent a good deal of time on.
We did talk about that a lot. They did announce
the Dungeon
more of it.
Maker.
Yeah, they
That
did
looked
announce a
neat.
little bit. So that wasn't like anything new.
The Dungeon Maker was.
I mean, Link's Awakening in general though wasn't new. I'm super excited for that. They did release the Dreamers Edition here in the
I tried
US
to get it
though.
for you. They're out in
The UK.
Tried.
Oh, I love you. Thank you. Yeah, in the UK
Yeah,
they
opened up
have
an
a
Amazon UK account.
they have a stainless steel case that comes with the game. It looks like an old Game Boy, like an old brick Game Boy. Got Link's Awakening logo on the front. I'm super sad that we're not getting it here because we don't get it.
And we probably spend a little bit more time on Sword and Shield at a different time. I'm still gathering my thoughts on that, especially them shutting down the National Poke today this time around.
It looks interesting. I don't know. Yeah, the fact that you can't have all the old Pokemon, I guess that was just too much.
I held on to all of my Pokemon games.
They're making fun of the sword Pokemon, the wolf with the sword in its mouth. It's just
That's a giant
Oh,
a copy of Snake's dog from 5.
gosh.
with a knife.
I love that dog. Dude literally goes out and just shanks somebody.
Yeah. It's a pretty good name.
As if it's not enough that he can grab them with his mouth and pull them down and
Just
go for the
slices their
throat.
neck.
Yeah, he just jumps in. Shah!
A little overkill.
I think it's great.
Yeah.
I forgot about that thing. Oh, that's a nice mind's eye image. That's great. If I catch that dog, I'm naming it Snake.
Wait,
Yeah.
that is so confusing. Think your health's going down. Oh wait, not mine. It's the dog's.
That way, when he faints, I can go like Snake, Snake,
He'll do it too every time.
like right in the middle of an airport.
Name it Fuzzy Snake. This is my Fuzzy Snake.
We'll even look even worse because I'll be looking down at my crotch while
It's like you always
Yeah.
playing.
This would be even worse if maybe looking down at my crotch while I'm playing and then go Snake, Snake.
Jeez.
There could be two ways to interpret that. There's either a snake in the area, or I'm talking to my crotch.
Oh, sorry, Shadow. Just ruined his day, probably.
Alright.
Ignorance is bliss until somebody brings it up.
$110 if
My
you,
bad.
I think it's like up to $110 to buy for that just the Steelbook online right now.
It's not worth it. I want it really badly because I collect Zelda stuff, but it's
They
not
seem to
worth
get a
it.
lot of that kind of stuff in
No.
Europe.
They do. Screw them. They get all the good stuff. I want the good stuff.
I just want cocaine.
It's so infuriating. We got a special edition, but it's only got the art book. In the meantime, they have an art book and the stainless steel book. I'm just hoping maybe they're like, surprise, here's a stainless steel
Yeah.
book.
But do they have freedom? I don't think so. Anyway,
They also have blunted knives.
They have steel books,
Yeah.
so
so on to the next.
That's all I
topic.
want. No.
So with we ended the show last time. I forget what we were talking about at the
I
end.
don't even remember.
I fell asleep immediately after and just never woke up again till today.
I was like,
Um,
so you're still sleeping? This is
yeah.
all a dream.
This whole week's been a blur. We had to talk about AR afterwards, like just for funsies. So I thought it'd be fun to talk about again, like I like to phrase it, the advent of AR because it just sounds fun to say. Sounds like something like early Walt Disney-esque.
Mhm.
The future.
The
Yeah.
future.
Anyway,
Mhm.
so I was thinking, like, what would the future look like with AR? It doesn't even have to be game related, just like in general. Like, what do we anticipate? What
Well-
do you see?
Another thing I just thought of, if it were like a contact or like a glass that you wear all the time.
Twitch
If
Don't
you
be
go
a
to-
glass
if-
hole.
If you go to restaurants, like the menus, they could hand you like a sheet, and then like AR would pop up the words up to you, like it'd be a blank sheet, you
Oh,
know.
dear God.
So as they're like, if they could do like a
I
different,
get what you're saying.
different menu every day, and then it would just change like that. So it's like less money on printing and this and that.
I might as well just throw out that altogether, and you just tap a little circle button on there that says menu, kind of like in in a heads up. Tap menu, and it just pops up in front of you. I mean, cut out extra costs, at your restaurant.
Your tablecloth says menu on it. Okay.
Yeah.
I mean,
Okay.
I got this.
All right, there you go. All right.
yeah, I mean, fast food places, they already have the kiosks and whatnot that you go up and order at. So
They
Tell
have
me, I
those
don't
at
have to
Taco
look at
Bell
the person
now.
now. I
Taco
order.
Bell, Burger King.
Mhm.
You don't have to talk to people
McDonald's.
anymore.
I don't like talking to people at McDonald's. Okay, some of the
Right.
people at McDonald's are cool, but
That feel. It's
it's
awesome.
not that hard to get my order right.
I see there being a lot less privacy
Yeah,
with it because it's, although it would be cool for yourself that you see somebody, you don't have to worry about forgetting names because you just like in like a Google Glass type situation.
Like
it just
usernames above
yeah,
their
it's just
heads.
like usernames,
Mhm.
everything. That's awesome whenever you're the one using it. But sometimes you just want to go out in public and people, just do your thing. People not bug you. Whatnot. Like,
Take off your glasses.
I would
Clark
say,
Kent it.
there's going to be assholes who just like see someone's name and start yelling it just to confuse people. I would probably be one of those assholes. That is just like, I've never met this person, but I'm going to yell their name just so that they're like, oh, who's talking to me?
I'm sure
It's
there'd
like,
be
you know what I
like
mean? Like,
disruptors that somebody
yeah.
would build, like to blur out your face.
Oh, they do. I've been looking into them.
Oh yeah, I remember that.
We talked about that at some point, didn't we?
Yeah, we did.
I mean, but it's just like everything.
It's
Like,
it's all becoming.
yeah, it's like, okay, you have a firewall. That's just a challenge for somebody to get through it. Like,
Well, this is
you
a-
have a disruptor. I'm just gonna figure it
It's
out.
an analog,
yeah.
so you can't. What it is they use infrared to scan your face, and what these do is reflect infrared its frames
Back
on
at
your
it.
glasses, so it distorts the light.
Yes and no. Somebody's gonna figure out.
A way around
It,
it.
like I
Eventually.
said, it's just it's a challenge for somebody out there
That's
to
fine.
figure it out. I mean, it's
But if the camera can't see me, that's what I'm okay with.
yeah.
It's a weird concept to think that it's going to be a thing.
And then people are gonna be selling your data. Can you imagine, like somebody outside? I'll give you an upload pack with everybody in the city.
I mean, I kind of already.
I mean, but like
our data's sold every place anyway.
I mean, like, but this dude's gonna sell it to people real time on the street, to anybody, and be like, "You want to know who you're looking at right now?" Bam. Apparently, a new thing I've missed all these years is like airdropping's a thing now. Like, you use Apple products.
I don't use Apple products, but I know what it is.
So people are rating other people with airdrop. Like apparently
yeah.
teens.
Like you have like your NFC active where people can just drop something into your device.
Yeah, you still have to accept it, but it's still one of those
it
things.
gives a
that
pop up.
Yes.
Yeah.
I heard about that.
So wait,
yeah,
what?
So like you're on a subway,
Yeah,
right?
yeah,
Like say you're in a big city.
Yeah.
You
It's
get on
really
you get
funny.
on the subway.
Kind of annoying but funny.
You hop on your phone, you see, oh, there's 20 other people in there with their airdrop open.
Mhm.
Yeah.
So you just like
Spam an image.
whatever you feel like. Whatever image you feel like, use your imagination. And just drop it to those people. Now, out of those 20 people, 15 of them are going to be smart enough to be like, I don't know this, and ignore it. The other 5 people are going to be like, oh, what's this? Open it up, and whatever you decided to send them, they see.
You can get a little bit of preview, so you can get creative with the way you send it, so it shows part of the image, but the rest of it's something else. Like another thing is like rating people is something that groups of teenagers do now. Like apparently it's just a thing. Like when you see other people, you just airdrop, and like if it's a group of people that are together, they raid other phones because you can actually send so many airdrops at once you crash their phone. So like they will literally run around and just airdrop, and like they'll send memes while doing it. So like apparently you get some pretty quality content. But
And then your phone crashes.
it's like, apparently like this is a real problem like in schools now. I didn't even think about that, like because I used airdrop to like send assignments to people.
Oh, I
or to...
send it between my phone and my iPad all the time for
But,
like
like-
art.
Oh yeah,
Yeah, that's like the only thing I use AirDrop for is to like send things back
but
and
it's like
forth.
Reddit in real life.
Now, I don't use Apple products, but how hard is it to turn your airdrop on and off? Like, is it a
don't
pain in
think
the
it's
butt
very
to go
hard.
through?
It's a button.
You also
Okay,
have a
so-
choice of whether it's
so
people you
turn-
know or not.
Yeah, so turn it off or change your settings. It's like,
Mhm.
it's like the people who freak out about putting stuff on Facebook.
I would almost
Like, oh, don't put pictures of your kids on Facebook. It's like, well, if you set your privacy right, you don't have to worry about it. Like, just what go into your settings. I don't know.
just don't make a Facebook for your kid.
I mean, or do make a Facebook for your kid, but monitor it.
No, I mean
correctly.
like people that make it for their babies.
Even so, do that, but only add like grandparents, aunts, uncles, whatever, so that you don't have to blow up your own feed.
You can
I don't.
privatize
I don't
it.
do
I guess
this.
I'm thinking about those old settings where you couldn't do that.
Yeah,
So
like,
now you can make it to where like people can't see it unless like they're friends of friends.
yeah.
So
I've got mine on the strictest settings. You can't even find me if I don't. Like some people can for some reason, but
yeah,
like,
friends of friends. That's the highest you can get, I think.
because I had it set where nobody could find me when that came out initially, but it apparently took that
Yeah,
from
that's
me.
like the highest you can get is like only friends of friends can see you. So like if I meet somebody new and I'm like they're like, hey, can I do it on Facebook? I'm like, well, good luck finding me unless we randomly know this one of the same person. Like unless we have a mutual friend somewhere in between there, you're not gonna find
I
me.
live in a really small world because I'm more and more disappointed when I say find me on Facebook as a challenge, and they're like, oh, here you are. I'm like, and I walk away,
Slap their phone out of their hand. You
break it.
airdrop raids.
They have
Quinn.
Facebook on AR.
Forget Pokemon raids. It's gonna be
I-
airdrop
I
raids
feel like
now.
Facebook on AR will turn into like that Black Mirror episode. Have you seen that?
No.
With the rating system, where it's like you rate people.
Oh,
Have you
yeah.
seen?
Everything.
Honestly, whenever you guys said that, that's what I thought you guys were talking about. It's like that commercial, yeah, where like she's at the airport or something.
Yeah,
like
and
her,
like
her
like
her
it's almost like
rating's
a
going
credit
down.
score,
you-
but it's for like everything. Like, oh, like do you want to get
Everything.
it? Do you want to get into this restaurant? Like, let
You
me
gotta
check
be-
your rating score first. You have to be at least a 4-star.
You want to rent a
To
car
get
to
it-
get around?
Yeah.
Oh, you can't because your rating is
Do you
too
watch
low.
that new
Yeah.
Seth MacFarlane?
Yeah.
Could be like it's like
The Orville
that
actually
could
has an
be
episode
good
about
and
that.
bad.
They have a planet
because
whose
that could
entire
be-
economy is based on a like
It's all
system.
bad because
Yeah.
people would
That's what I mean. Is if
I was
people-
actually
if
about to
people
say
were
that,
honest,
Shadow.
It wouldn't be.
no,
Sha-
it's all bad.
Shadow raises a good point that I was just about to say.
Huh.
China already has this system. It is
They do.
and it affects your ability not only to like places you can go and what you can do. It affects your ability to get loans, your ability to buy a house, like anything. And it's literally your neighbors can rate you.
I mean,
Imagine like if a gang got out there and like imagine if teenagers thought it was
Oh.
funny to troll you with no likes.
That's
like,
what
or
I mean.
downvotes.
Like,
Yeah, but see,
It
the
would
thing
be
is, what
an
happens to all the people who are socially awkward? Their scores are going to be low
That's right.
because they'll be handicapped because of
That's
that,
right.
Well,
and
and
then they'll be fucked.
well, yes
Language,
and no.
right?
I feel like it'll divide, like, getting a loan, right? So
Yeah.
socially awkward people will probably be grouped together in some way because there'll be like apartment complexes that are like, oh, we accept low ratings, and you know what I mean. So it's like all these socially awkward people, they just all end up around each other. I'm not saying it's a good thing. I'm just saying I feel like that's the way.
they don't leave
It-
each other alone.
It's a good way to
That would-
inadvertently introduce
it-
segregation.
Yeah, I was going to say
Yeah.
that
I
is
mean,
segregation.
We're
yeah.
bettering society, but you guys, you got to stay over there.
I mean, I don't know. I can see the positives in it though.
I was like, there's some goods that could
then
come out
it's
of it,
like-
but people would have to be honest. Is
you-
the problem?
well, you-
like,
well, I think
and not troll.
I think it almost forces a lot of honesty on people because if you get caught lying, well, now I can't go buy a car. Now I can't go buy a house. Now I can't. You know what I mean? You can't do things if you're caught lying because you're going to get low ratings. If you're just a jerk to people in general.
It's true.
I've known too
You
many
know,
vindictive
like-
men and women though. Like the smallest slight, it's an F-bomb on you, sir.
I mean that.
As a resource, I can see it being good, but as a solid means of
yeah.
as a solid means of decision making,
Oh no,
it's
yeah.
not good. But
Yeah.
but as a resource, hey, is this person good? That's
As
It gives you a rough
an
idea.
opening
Yeah.
factor.
It can go too far real fast. Yeah.
an
It's
open
kind of like a background check without the background check.
an opening.
Yeah.
It's
It's
like,
like,
an
a, it's like a
opening
soft
factor.
core background check. Like we're just gonna check just to see where you
I
stand.
mean, that already kind of happens. Like, whenever I was managing businesses, the first thing I would do when I went to hire somebody is get on Facebook and find them. I mean, you don't necessarily get a rating system with them, but you see what kind of stuff they're posting.
Yeah.
And
But
you get
they're
a real
okay
good-
with it.
Yeah. If you're willing to post videos of you smoking all day long. Like, that's probably not the person I want to hire. Like, if that's what you do all day long, I have no problem if you do it. But if that's what your main
you
goal
may not
in
fit
life,
this job.
yeah, if that's your main goal in life, I don't know if I want you as an employee. Like,
I mean, if you were running my head shop and that's all you had to do, maybe.
yeah, that's fine.
But I don't have a head shop, so
But working around like hot
I don't got a
ovens
job
all
for
day.
you.
Do what?
But working around hot ovens all day, you want to be coordinated a bit, you know.
Well,
Yeah.
I mean, to be honest, it was a pizza place, and 75% of the people who worked there were just stoned all day.
Oh.
Like, while they were at work. But, personally, people who are stoned are the people I want making my food, because it's going to be real good food. They care about what that food's going to taste like.
Because they may make it later.
All right.
You
I
see that pizza, dude? Oh my god, I'm making one for lunch. I think I got this recipe just BAM!
It's loud.
Fire. Yeah, but that's exactly the kind of things they'd be saying.
Very loud.
Yeah, I mean, it's a...
I'll admit, some of those conversations are just great to listen in.
Oh,
Shadow.
you want to talk about,
thought about
the best
that.
possible podcast you could come up with? If you could figure out how to put mics in a restaurant, like in the kitchen of a restaurant, and just let that go, you'll never find conversations like that anywhere else.
Oh,
my
yeah,
God.
some people in restaurants are
Oh.
interesting folk.
Oh, yeah.
I don't. No, I worked in a restaurant. And it was always. See, I never got the cool drug users.
What restaurant did you work at?
I always ended up working with the IV drug users that were tweakers.
Oh, yeah, but the things that come out of their mouth are some of the most entertaining. You don't understand what they're talking about
These were.
because they're in a different universe.
I'm going to use a weird phrase here because it's an oxymoron. They are somewhat adjusted tweakers. They don't come to work high, so you just get their pissed off attitude.
Oh yeah,
So they
those
don't
are-
say
those are
anything
fun.
fun. They're just angry all day. And like, I'm angry all day. I don't need your help, bro. I mean, but you have nothing to be angry about other than the fact that you're not high. I don't know what I'm angry about. That makes me angry because I'm confused. I don't know what's going on. I have to work, and now you're here.
What restaurant did you used to work?
I'm not gonna
Or
say
what type of restaurant?
fast food,
Oh, fair enough. Oh, I believe I remember where you used to work.
but yeah. So you'd work with interesting individuals from time to time that weren't fun. But
Yeah.
then when you did get to somebody that was more like the stoner style, it's like I could hang out with this person. And these are interesting conversations. Have you thought about this before? I'm like, no, I haven't, and I don't think I will after this. But thank you.
I'll tell you right now, the conspiracies that fast food workers believe that's another. What is AR going to do to affect the conspiracy theories? How
God.
much worse are
It's
they?
gonna be like
are they
10
gonna
times
get,
worse.
You're
They're
gonna
gonna go
walk
around
up-
slapping like Google headpieces off people's heads.
You're gonna walk up to the World Trade Memorial, and it's gonna span like something's gonna drop into your view that says 9/11 was an inside job.
They're gonna have tinfoil glasses.
Dude, I'll just as a
Instead.
preemptive measure, I will load a sample that just puts a tinfoil hat on everybody around me, in the
That-
shape of a Hershey's Kiss.
That is one thing I look forward to with AR is like being just skins that you can put. So it's like, you know, everybody's dressed as Disney characters today. Like just everybody I meet, like
That'd be
maybe
very like.
maybe that's a cure to depression.
Imagine like
That
imagine
could be.
Yeah.
You smile all day.
imagine doing that like at work. Like if you were having a malfunction with your software and it kicked on characters while you're at work, so you have no idea who you're talking to. So like your friend comes in, he's like, "Hey, can you help me with this?" But it's got some voice modulator and things on. It's like, and you're used. So for whatever reason, it's not easy to take the AR off. So that's a given in this situation. And you just kind of talk to him like, yeah, and you're trying to be as vague about things as possible so as not to give away. I have no idea who you are or what we're really talking about.
Like trying to make it through a normal social situation while on acid.
Your boss comes in. Hey, can I borrow you in my office for a minute? Oh yeah, I'll be there in just a second. Because you don't want to be like, who are you and what office am I going to? That looks bad.
Yeah, sure, SpongeBob.
Yes.
I'll be there in a minute.
What's that? Nothing.
I don't know. I was asking if seen
A
the.
Ghost in Shell standalone. He also mentioned that
I don't know what that is. With the
just a
laughing
comment
man.
priorly, we were talking about the stoner shifts. He said maybe that should be a requirement for some shifts when it becomes legal. Get stoned before you come in.
I feel like there's certain places that would benefit that.
For the sake of social adaptability, you must take one fat rip before you come into work today. And they've got a water bong by the door.
I don't know what the Ghost in the Shell standalone
that-
likes. No.
Is
You
that
know what Ghost in the Shell is?
no? Is that one of like the movies that came out?
No, that was the TV show with the little red and blue robots, I believe.
I think I've seen a episode.
I've not seen it, so with the laughing, I don't know. I've never watched it.
I'm not quite sure what he's.
I know what it is, but I've never watched it.
No clue.
So,
Good series.
Ghost in the Shell is, for lack of a better phrasing, because I didn't really watch a lot of it. I know the premise is the idea that you have your spirit in
Yeah.
a sense, and it's uploaded into a mainframe.
Yeah.
And your body is nothing but a shell.
So it's the Matrix.
No, because your shells are replaceable. You live in the real tangible world, but you're in a robot body. And if your body dies, you just upload to a new one.
I feel like I've heard something about this before.
Yeah.
It was a pretty big anime for its time.
Yeah, it's
And it's kind of thought provoking because it talks about like the singularity. Like I went and saw Michio Kaku talk one time, and he's a physicist. I don't know. Bro, do you know the name?
I've heard it.
He does he does some of the episodes of The Universe on the Science Channel. Anyway, I went to one of his talks one time, and he got toward the end. He was talking about immortality, and I'm not cheapening what he said. He was literally talking about immortality, which seems weird to be a physics professor, and I mean professor in the sense of professing, not just being a teacher, going on about immortality. But his rule of immortality was or his idea of immortality was an upload to a singularity. We all upload into a system, and we live on forever as a consciousness within a computer. My only take on that is, have you guys seen The Prestige?
Yeah.
With Hugh Jackman? So he goes to Nikola Tesla to outdo somebody else's magic trick, and it ends up building a machine that clones people, creates a duplicate. And what he does the transported man, so he stands in this thing in the theater, and then bam, he's at the top of the balcony, right? Problem is, there's now two of you. One of you's got to go. So he devises a little, spoilers, sorry, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Devises a little trap where he falls through the bottom of, and it drowns the one that was in the machine. And he talks about the existential crisis of entering that machine. At the end of the movie, he says, I made sacrifices. I never knew if I was going to be the man in the box or if I was going to be the man in the balcony. Which begs the next question. Which one of it is actually really you? Right? So if you upload you into a computer, yes, I could see it being an exact semblance of you that existed at that moment in time. But that's where it diverges. But it's saying that you could upload also means that you can copy. Meaning, is it really you in the computer or just a mirror image? Because then if you really want to get into existentialism, you could bring in the soul, the idea of a spirit. I don't think the spirit gets copied because your body still exists. It still functions. So when you die off as a biological being, does your spirit transcend and then a facsimile of you move on in the computers? So is it true immortality? Who is it? It's like quantum entanglement.
I think what we have to figure out is, does the computer get 28 grams heavier whenever you copy it? Because it said that your soul weighs 28 grams. When you die, apparently, I don't know who, but I've heard this multiple times from multiple different places, that they've tested, like weighing someone as they were getting ready to die, and at the time of death, they get 28 grams lighter.
Is it the air in there?
It's their
Air's
soul.
not that heavy.
It's their soul.
So
So if you upload yourself to a computer and the computer gets 28 grams heavier, then that means your
So you-
soul
so-
went into the computer.
so conservation
It's
of
gonna be one heavy computer with everybody in there.
what is it? Is that that's not mass action. That's almost conservation of energy. Matter cannot be
28
created nor
grams.
destroyed. It can only be changed.
What if you got a fat soul? Well, it's like a maximum that you can upload. Sorry, you're overweight. Your
So
soul's
the computer
overweight.
that's
We
holding
can't
a
take
city
it.
is just in a crater. But I don't know. Because I think about that. It's like, is it truly you? Is my point. It's and I've argued this same idea like with quantum entanglement. So
Yeah.
with quantum entanglement, they've managed. You can use it to send information, right? Essentially Morse code over a super long distance. But if you can actually build a quantum entanglement generator that can disassemble matter and reassemble it on the other end, it's that same thought. Because you aren't actually transporting anything, you're just rebuilding it over here and unbuilding it here. Is it really you that comes out of the transporter? Yes, it's going to be something that thinks it's you. It's going to be what looks like you, but is it you because what began as you was deconstructed and then a mirror image was constructed over here? It's almost more like a copy machine that destroys the original.
I mean, if it's the actual same particles that are used to rebuild, then yeah, it's the same. It's like, take your car. You could completely disassemble your car, move it someplace else, and reassemble it, and it's not a copy. It's the same thing. But if you completely disassemble it, make 3D prints of every single part someplace else based off of what was there, and then assemble that, then it's a copy.
But that's
it's one of those that if it's the same exact particles that are used, then yeah, it's the same thing. If it's not, then it's not.
That's kind of the point I'm getting at is what Cataluna he stated in much better words than I could have thought to state it. Does information occupy matter? So what you become in a quantum transporter is information. So the tangible question becomes is you're not moving particles from one part, you're reassembling something over here from the same set of particles.
You're talking
like
about you're talking about
So,
the Star Trek transporter.
Yeah, you got to pull a carbon over here, you got to pull a carbon over here. You have a person here, deconstructs.
Mm-hmm.
This carbon pool gets a little bit bigger, and then over here it reconstructs out of this carbon pool. This carbon pool is now lighter. It is the same image on this side, same person, but it is not from the same source material. Do you see what I mean?
I think it all boils down to weighing both of them, seeing which one's 28 grams heavier.
Oh snap! But we destroyed the original.
You have to weigh it before you do it, and then
Are
you weigh that. Then you weigh the.
Are
other
you going to be
one.
the brave one to step onto that transporter first?
No.
That's where you get
What we have to
a
do.
vagrant with no family.
You're gonna have to do it with.
Nothing to lose.
We're gonna have to have legitimate clones first, and then do it. Test it out with clones. The clones for
I
science.
got you. Yeah, and I kind of get that. I think it'd be interesting.
Well, yeah, that'd be interesting. I'd recommend a piece of fruit first, like a banana.
Jill Nana.
Bananas.
Okay, so
So-
it's about that time for Rory to get going.
Unfortunately.
So we're gonna take a 5-minute break. Do you care if we
Break?
continue on some of this
Oh.
conversation?
That's fine. Care?
You don't?
No.
Okay. Then we're gonna take about a 5-minute break, and we can continue on talking about 28
Jellins.
grams of you. That actually sounds like a good name for a series. 28 grams of you.
It sounds like the 23andMe.
No.
Which is that DNA thing.
We'll be back in just a few moments.
Bye.
Okay, there we go. So yeah, that took a little bit longer than we thought. We're back. Just gonna finish up a little bit of the conversation about what's AI? No, AR.
AR, AI, whatever.
Yeah, it's all the same. No, it'll be a mix. That's
Yeah.
for sure, because that's how the computing will have to be done.
Yeah.
But we were talking bosses, and we were talking the soul in 28 grams of you, right?
Yeah.
Yeah. So I don't know. I still really feel like the immortality argument is that comes to an existential debate at that point. You know, I don't know that I like the idea of uploading myself when I can't be sure that it's going to be me on the other end. You know, as I know myself now.
Yeah, you'd have to believe that there's going to be. I mean, there's not a perfect program out there. There's always a bug somewhere, whether it's a tiny bug or a big bug. There's always a bug somewhere.
Oh yeah.
So, yeah, how could you trust to do that? Like, I mean, I guess if you're on your deathbed, upload me. What's the worst that's gonna happen? Like,
Even if it's not me, my soul moves on, and well, hey, look, there's something me left behind.
yeah, I mean, I guess if you're on your deathbed, but like, that's gonna turn
God.
into a thing where it's like
Archived grandma.
Yeah, my biological body sucks. Like I got crappy genes. My parents were, crappy overweight people that didn't take care of themselves and passed that on to me, and now I'm stuck with it and whatever. And so I'm just gonna, I'm 22 years old. I'm gonna go upload myself into a computer, and then there's a bug in the system, and now you like can only think about like the color blue. It's just something dumb. Like,
I'm blue, just that video.
now we know how that song was made.
That video is just your whole life.
Yeah.
That's them. That's actually them reaching out from the future, crying for help. That's why they look like such robots in that video. That dance they do, you know.
But then you have people who want to be deleted, and then you have to have a whole suit of lawyers who have to deal with that whole mamma jamba. Like, do they have the right to delete themselves? Like, come on now. Like,
in Oregon, yeah.
yes, there you go.
You got to get it signed off by a doc, but yes, you can delete yourself.
It depends on where your server is. If you're in Oregon, right?
Well, that becomes I think it actually becomes worse than that. Like, not only do you want to delete yourself, but because at that point, if for lack of better phrasing, a code, then you could literally delete aspects of you.
That's true. So
that becomes even more disturbing to me.
Yes and no. I mean, so could it turn into a cure though?
I mean,
for things like so pedophiles, right? Worst thing you can imagine, pedophiles. Like, I'd rather be in a room with a murderer than a pedophile myself. There's no cure for that. That's just wiring gone wrong in their brain, that there's something for whatever reason.
Depending on
whether
the person,
they were born with
them.
that messed up wiring or they were abused as a kid, whatever. But so could you upload them and delete that part of the code, and now you have a version of them that is not a monster?
I don't think that necessarily makes them a monster, depending on their actions. For instance, if it's a wiring in their brain beyond their control that they choose to not act upon, then they are choosing to reject a piece of themselves because they don't want it.
I agree with that.
So
but I'm just saying
and to me that makes them not a monster. That makes that
no.
What does that make them?
No, if they act on it, then they are.
Yeah,
oh yeah, absolutely.
Yeah,
that's what he was.
That's what I'm saying. Like, so.
But so many people want to jump on the bandwagon of that person should die because they're a pedophile. It's like, well, wait. Well, first of all, if you somehow know, then something's probably happened. But if it's somebody who actively seeks to never engage in that behavior and never act upon it, then that person is doing their best.
No, and I agree with that. And same thing either way. With the being, you upload them to a computer. I mean, you could use this for depression or whatever too. You upload yourself to a computer and you can delete that part out.
As far as my depression, I wouldn't want to remove it.
Well, and that would be a choice that you could have.
As long as it remained a choice.
Yeah, I mean, as long as it remains a choice. But take a pedophile who did act on it, who did abuse a kid or whatever, like, okay, that's part of your sentencing is you're getting uploaded and that part of your code's getting deleted.
And now you're going to work in a digital factory the rest of your life.
But even
welding cars together.
or you give them a choice. We can upload you, delete that part of you, and then you go live as a free person, or you can go to prison.
Yeah,
You can do it the old school way and go to prison. Like, make your choice. You can keep being this way, but you're going to go to prison because we can't have you out on the streets.
And then Shadow Luna brings up another good point, like who has the right to delete things like those, and that's right. So there you've got a legal matter, but it's the same reason I'm not a fan of 23andMe. The reason I don't like it, first of all, I'm probably already in their system, like just because I have friends and family that have done it. So anybody who's related to me, I will pull up in their family tree because they source with like Ancestry's got its thing, and then there are others that pull in. So I'm probably already in that system whether I like it or not. And that bothers me alone because I was never asked. But there is some semblance of public knowledge to it too, so I can accept that. But the idea of uploading your genetic distinctions to a company, because I was going to do it, I considered it, because I'd like to know some of the more dangerous markers I could spread on. But I read all the terms of services on these websites. There is nothing that states what they can or cannot do with your data. Now, they say that there are things they will and won't do, but they could technically sell your information to governing bodies, to things like to companies. For instance, imagine your insurance gets a hold of your DNA profile. If they know that you are, say, a possible Huntington's case, possible dementia, any major illness carrier, like possibility, they could use these things to adjust rates. Now, I know they have no pre-existing conditions kind of things, but if you want to go even further, there's also like the movie Gattaca where the government takes control. You have to build designer babies kind of thing. You get to pick and choose how your kids come out. But say a true totalitarian government gets a hold of that information, they can literally choose who breeds and who doesn't. You carry a gene that is dangerous for the human population, we think. Thus, you can't have kids. If you do, your kid will be put to death if they carry these genes, and you will likely be sentenced by a totalitarian government. The idea is that the information, the idea behind it is good, but the implications are scary depending on who gets that knowledge. You see what I mean?
That's true.
And that's something I'm afraid of, because then it becomes an ethics argument. If you know you are a carrier for Huntington's, and there's a good chance of you passing that on, do you not have a moral duty to not pass that on to children? Do you have a moral obligation to not procreate?
I mean,
because then you are because then it could be argued you're inflicting a harm on the coming child by setting them up for a life where they may hurt. There's a case in India actually where a son is suing his parents for having him as a kid.
Yeah, well, that's also just a sign of the rapid mental illness.
Yes.
Oh, no,
Yes,
I
that-
entirely agree. But
Like,
his argument is ethically sound because he did not ask to be born. He has had from his claims, and I'm not substantiating them, he has had a difficult life that has made him miserable, and he is unhappy with the state of his life now as a result of his life. And it would not have happened had his parents not had a child. Now, I can see where that's just somebody being ingrateful for ever having the opportunity to have had happiness, but at the same time, if you're arguing on a strictly moral and ethics thing, then you have to say he didn't ever have a choice in any of it.
all right, I know nothing about this case. I've never heard of it before.
It's
I have to
very
ask.
interesting. Even his mom.
Is it legitimate, or is this?
It's
kind
a
of
legitimate court case.
Is this like kind of a tongue-in-cheek? Let's show everybody what's wrong
Well,
with.
he's legitimately suing his parents, and his mother's like his
But are
mother,
his
who's a
parents
lawyer.
in on it?
No, his parents are lawyers, and his mom is like, I am proud of my son for suing me and standing up for his rights.
Okay, so but what I'm saying is, are his parents in on it? In
Yeah,
the
I get
fact
what you're
of
saying.
That they're kind of showing like, maybe we should not just take every court case that comes along because
Yeah.
some of them are so frivolous that you can make a legitimate argument on them, like you're explaining.
Yeah.
But if you step back and look at it, you go, "This is the most obnoxious thing you can come up with." Like,
We're
Yeah.
humans. Procreation is part of our end goal.
yeah, I mean that's
I'm not saying it's our end all be all, but we are animals, and animals' ultimate goal is to propagate.
yeah, I mean that's, I mean,
Yeah, so I get what you're saying. It's just funny because when you do bring in things like that, you have to bring in the morality. When you share that kind of information about somebody, and it's not what is it? The winner of the war writes the history kind
yeah.
of thing. So whoever's in power gets to use that information how they want, and I don't like the idea of that information being used against me, because I might feel a moral conflict in having children if I'm going to be passing those genes on. But then, like, this is a funny rabbit hole because I've sat and thought about it because I had to do something. But there are now procedures you can do, like pre-implementation genetic diagnosis, which allows you to scan embryos at the 8-cell blastocyst stage for marker DNA things. So they'll get like 5 or 6 eggs, fertilize them, and they'll grow them in a culture. And when they hit that 8-cell blastocyst, they'll rupture a cell, collect the DNA, and analyze it. And whichever embryo, or not even quite an embryo yet, pronounced embryos, whichever fertilized egg is not carrying the markers that you are looking to keep, is the one that they do not dispose of. And then they implant that, and it's born out of the mother. And then that creates its own ethical argument. Who are you to choose which fertilized egg gets to stay? How do you have that right to say that this child didn't deserve it, or this fertilized egg doesn't deserve a chance? So then there's also the idea of the from the perspective of the egg, it's indifferent because the egg, it's up as far as the egg is concerned. It's random chance.
It's basically the same arguments that go along with the whole abortion debate at that. Like you're talking about the same thing, except for except for you went into it. The only difference is that you went into it with a goal and knowing that you were going to do that.
It's more.
That's really the only.
It's more the Rawlsian veil of ignorance there. In that one, it's not so much as you intend to go through a pregnancy, so it's not necessarily abortion. It's you picking from a lineup.
Yeah.
Who you don't abort.
Well, and then it's there's the thought out there too with the CRISPR gene editing stuff and all that it's eventually it's going to come to a point that sex is just going to be for pleasure and fun, and that procreation, kids, and everything is all going to be done in ways. Like that's going to be the normal way to do it. Like we're going to look at people who have kids, through sex the normal way.
Mm-hmm.
Eventually, they're going to be looked at as like anti-vaxxer people. Like, oh my gosh, that's so unsafe. Why would you do that? Like.
Well, it's going to turn into Demolition Man, where you just put on the headset and you have coitus mentally, and then you go to the lab and get it implanted. And that's what that could turn into. But there's no physical at all, because you don't want to pass anything along to anybody else.
I mean, it's all a slippery slope. It's also one of those things that you look at. I mean, you can run a lot of this stuff back to what we're going through now with social media and everything else. This is kind of a new frontier, and it.
I think
it's one of those things we're having to navigate and understand now. Is it? I mean, it kind of goes into the other thing we had talked about, possibly talking about, of the censoring on social media and things like that. That it's you can debate about it any of this stuff without actually being there. But until you're in the middle of it, you don't really know what the best thing to do is and see.
Oh yeah.
I mean, it's like the same with the DNA of selling your information, everything else to people. Like social media companies are already doing that. Like they're selling all your information for marketing purposes at this point. It's like, well,
And they are the best marketers.
yeah, I mean that's a.
I mean, you got billions of people to draw models. They're the ultimate profiler for what marketing gets you.
Yeah, well, and it's one of those things that me personally, as far as social media stuff goes, and Google collecting my data and selling it and any of that stuff, like, sure, fine. That just means you're going to show me things that I like. I don't have to. I don't. It's like you go back. I haven't had cable TV in years, but whenever I'm at somebody else's house or whatever, and commercials come up, it's like, I wouldn't mind commercials if they were all showing me things I liked. It's really annoying to sit through commercials of like cleaning products. Like, I don't care about your cleaning products. Like, when I buy cleaning products, I go to the store and I grab whichever one looks like in the store. I don't think about it until I'm standing in the aisle and I go, that one looks like it'll work. Like,
I think the problem is it's there should be opt-out buttons, and the reason I say that is because there are people that have poor impulse control when they do things, and if
That's
you're showing
on
them
them.
things, I get that, but some people have a legitimately miswired impulse control.
well, but at the same time, that's on them. It's one of those things that it's like, that's like being like, well,
I'm saying from a compassionate standpoint, you could offer an opt-out.
okay, from a compassionate standpoint, maybe that is a thing, and it also, I think, there's ad blockers and whatnot out there that,
Hey, that's what I use. I don't want ads.
yeah, if you don't want ads, you don't want ads, and so
Though I will.
take your own personal steps. It's almost being like, well, there's people out there with impulse control, so we should
Cater to every one of them.
Yeah, we should make our knives dull because they might impulsively cut themselves.
I'm
Like,
talking to you, London Police Department.
yeah, but it's like they might impulsively stab someone. It's like, yeah, but I also need a knife to cook my dinner, so we can't just take away knives. Like, it's at some point you have to put the responsibility back on the individual.
If you
Yes.
take away knives, you have to take away scissors because you can make knives out of.
Right.
Well,
Then you got to take away metal because the metal's what we make our scissors with. But then you got to be careful because some plastics can cut pretty good.
yeah, well, and
It-
then it just turns into
What I mean
prison
is,
ingenuity, and you're making knives out of.
I think the idea is that I'm fine with ads being sent to me that I like. The difference in ads being given to me versus predatory advertising is probably the one I would try to make if I did more research. Like when their intent is to heap predatory ads upon you, one after the other after the other, with ads that you like, but with misleading headlines. Like I almost signed up for a VPN service the other day. It said 99 cents, and they had a little. The way it was arranged, the per week was kind of out of the scope of the phrasing. But when I went to read it, I was like, total charge this time $3.96. So it's $4. Okay, I get that. But the point is, the way that they had set the advertisement up made me immediately think 99 cents, and I'm like, 99 cents, I could use this service.
Well, and see,
No brainer. And then when they do that, I'm like, while it's only $4, you guys pull the fast one with the way you advertise.
yeah, well, and see, that's the thing is they're gonna get some people who don't pay close attention on that, and then whatever. In the long run, people who do that, most sound-minded people are gonna look at that and go, "Yeah, you all. If you're trying to be that shady up front, then I'm not gonna buy your service because what kind of shady stuff are you gonna try to do down the road?
Or
Which
what
is
are you doing on your back end?
Yeah, exactly. That's a. Don't ask.
Ha.
My business. But yeah, and whether those were the direct thoughts you had or if it was a subconscious thing, you don't sign up for that, and eventually that company doesn't make it. I mean,
Well, yeah.
hopefully they don't make it, but it's a.
I just feel bad for like somebody that just impulse goes through it and then like all of a sudden it's like crap, it's done.
Yeah, but to me personally, I see that as a put that back on the consumer. Like at some point, consumers have to take responsibility
For the things
that
that they do.
Yeah, I mean it's a Is that crappy that they did that? Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
But at the same time, if they're doing crappy stuff, don't use their product.
And-
Like that's, I don't know. It's the same thing. I feel like that is a lot of the things we've talked about with AR and the uploading your stuff and everything. Like, there are a lot of moral issues with that stuff, but at the same time, how many of those things are the average everyday person going to actually engage in? And when you start talking about cost, how many of those things are things that the average everyday person will be able to afford?
Somebody actually called him out on that in the conference
Yeah.
because he was also talking about medical advancement. And he goes, well, of course, it's going to be to the upper echelon at first. He didn't say echelon, but he said the upper earners, but it always trickles down. I'm like, well, yeah, it does, but by the time it trickles down, they found a new way to monetize it off of everyone.
Yeah. But that's how it trickles down, is
Yeah.
that they figure out better ways to make money off of it so they can make it cheaper up front. But
Sorry about that.
yeah, I mean, I think a lot of it goes back to the consumer, the user, the whatever you want to call them, has to take some sort of responsibility. And you're going to have people who are irresponsible, but how is that different than what we deal with now?
Yeah.
Like, it's just going to be different stuff and different. I mean, yeah, there's going to have to be regulations that get put into place, just like any new thing. Eventually, I mean, think about the internet.
Yeah.
In the 90s, there was zero regulation. You did what you want.
Yeah.
And then over time, there had to be regulations put in here and there, and there will be more regulations eventually. I don't know that more regulations is a good thing, but it'll
Yeah.
happen.
I see what you're saying. I guess it's more like, I guess because I think about it from the perspective of somebody with ADD. Sometimes you just get caught up in something you're doing, and all of a sudden you see something, and you don't even think before you've already spent that money, and then all of a sudden you're like, and I know it's on me. I know the onus in the end is on me, but sometimes I can't help but feel you didn't need to put that there. And so I see two sides, and I understand one is my feelings. So I can't fault them for that. That's my thing. But I can, we can feel things and it not also mean that it is the ultimate truth. Like
Yeah.
I can feel like there was some sleight of hand trickery here, things based on the way that you advertised. I fell for it. I'm upset about it.
Yeah, well, and that's one of those things that, what I think at that point it's how is it handled after the situation? So what do you do in that situation? You fell for it. Okay, so now I'm going to cancel this service, or I'm going to return the product, or I'm going to whatever if I can. If I can't, then what do?
You set up safeguards.
You set up safeguards for yourself, and you be noisy about it.
Be the wheel that needs the oil.
Yeah, to tell people, like, listen, don't fall for this. I fell for it. Don't you do it. Let
Okay,
people
so
know.
Make a positive out of it.
Force companies to be honest with things like that. Because if you're noisy about it and enough other people fall for it and they're noisy about it, you force them to be honest about what they're doing. Otherwise, they don't survive. I mean, that's my personal opinion. Now, at the same time, that doesn't always work because you have a Jeff Bezos kind of guy who has more money than any one person ever could spend. Maybe building rockets and stuff now, maybe $10. But he doesn't really care if you're noisy. He's gonna throw advertisements wherever he wants and do what he feels like. But it's, I don't know. I think that's a downside of AR that I hadn't thought of before. Is like ads. Like, so you have some Google Glass type situation that you're walking around, and it's like
Ready Player One.
Yeah, instead of just like billboards on the side of the road, it's just like you're walking along, you just have pop-ups in your face. Like, crap. Like, I don't want that right now. Just because I walked by a McDonald's doesn't mean that I need a McDonald's ad in my face. Like,
get that little sizzle reel. Juice is coming down the burger. Doesn't this look good? I can see that being a pain. It's like, it's just it's too deep of something to just, these ideas are just too simple to just implement, and I think that's what happens that's the way I see it, is some of these things are being implemented with what feels like little thought. Like, they're so excited about the next step that they haven't considered I hate to say this because it's true. It's like, what's his name from Jurassic Park? Malcolm says, we're so busy with the prospect of getting it done, you never stopped to think, should you do it?
Yeah.
And obviously it's a paraphrase, but
yeah, it goes, you're too busy thinking you could do it. You never thought about if you should.
yeah, and that's kind of my point, is like, should these things come to fruition eventually? Yeah, it is our inevitable state of being to continue to progress.
Yeah.
So we will see it. I think we should just be more mindful of how we implement these.
Well, I think that some of that as well, though, is it's almost just a never-ending debate, because we could sit here and talk about this we could start a whole second podcast stream just strictly talking about this and just go on a loop all day long, because all of it comes back around to itself eventually.
I'd actually not be opposed to a second hour after. I really I wanted it to go longer, but work restrictions kind of.
Yeah. But it's one of those things that some of this you almost have to implement without too much thought, or else it will never be implemented, because
you'll be too busy debating what comes of it.
Yeah, exactly. I mean, I
then
think
somebody else who cares even less than you will do it.
Exactly, and it's one of those things that you don't know until you do it, kind of thing. It's like,
should I ask this girl to marry me? Should I get married?
Well,
yeah, exactly.
You can kind of do what Google's doing with their infrastructure, or with the Google Fiber or whatever. They take a select area and they test it out, see how it works. Same thing with AR, same thing with all this other stuff. You take a certain area and you implement it there to test it out, see how society functions.
And you could do it in different fields. So you go, okay, let's, the AR stuff is already kind of happening within gaming.
Yeah, that's
the AR is
easier.
getting thrown into gaming. It's kind of a restricted, not everyday thing, but the people who want to try it, they have the opportunity to try it, and you can kind of work out some bugs there. Yeah. The same thing you could probably, I don't know, I feel like I read a headline, maybe part of an article, it's been within the past couple weeks, of Amazon implementing I don't know, can you pull stuff up on the screen to look this up? Amazon implementing in their warehouses an AR system of some sort to where it turns the...
Yes, I think it's using HoloLens.
That it is turning in their jobs into a game. So the workers who are going and picking all these orders and whatnot, it turns it into like a game with a point system, which is actually like...
That's an encouraging work environment, especially considering awesome. I heard it's considering I've heard it's very dreary to work with them. Oh, that's disturbing if you've seen that.
Yeah.
Literally
what is this?
Okay, so this is new shopping on Amazon. Let me pull it up on the stream.
It will show you what a product will look like in your house. So if you're looking for
shopping for a chair, Wayfair has that as well.
Okay.
I was looking at a skee ball game to put in my new house.
That's you were talking.
And
about
you
were talking about that.
They had one on Wayfair, and it was fairly cheap. It was like $800, $900, which for a skee ball game, I was like, that's pretty awesome. But then it had an AR view where I could put it in my house and look at it. I was like, well, if I was in my new house, I could see where this would fit. Like, that's awesome.
Yeah,
it's kind of creepy.
Yeah, the reason I see that is like, I don't need help buying stuff from Amazon.
Well,
no.
And the last thing I need is to see is to actually be able to measure it in place and go, fits.
No, but with this, so you recently painted a room.
Yeah.
You're trying to furnish the room.
Yes.
With this, you can see the pattern if the pattern of the furniture matches the color that you just did.
No,
so
there is a legitimate utility.
Yes, for furniture.
No, I get what you're saying. I'm just saying I'm the kind of person that would use it in ways they weren't intending. It's like I would be playing Tetris with my stuff and be like, I think I could use one of these
I think
But
that's what they're hoping for.
I think I can
because
fit
you'll
it
buy
in.
more stuff.
I think I can fit it in this spot so that when I need it,
That
I've got some. When I don't need it, I
sounds
got
kind
somewhere to
of
put it.
Fun, actually.
Yeah. It's like, do I need another Amazon Echo? No, but they sound good. Let me put one here. Then you put your phone up, you be like, it fits.
Yeah.
I need another. I'm
think
not
that's
saying
what
that's good logic reasoning, but
I think that's what they're hoping for.
Yeah.
but
For real.
let's see here. AR at work. And as far as Shadow was saying, he had more thoughts on the gentleman with the the gentleman trying to sue his parents.
Oh yeah.
So yeah, I definitely would like to hear those at a later time, so that you know that I'm here. I've been responding in the chat because that's why. Okay, I lost my mouse there. Okay, Amazon AR. No, what I think of when I think of AR is heavy rain that SETI puts on that it takes him somewhere else.
Yeah.
Do you know what I'm talking about?
I know what you're talking about. I understand the
I
concept. of
always
it.
wanted that.
I mean, that's cool. I think the idea of being able to put skins on things, people, whatever. It's
Mhm.
like, oh, we don't need to go on vacation, and like we don't need to go to Disney World because just put our Disney skin on our glasses here,
Yeah.
and our house is Disney World now. You know what I mean? Like,
Yeah.
I mean, obviously, I'm a big proponent of like handmade things and that kind of stuff because there really is a different feel, a different whatever. Like, so it wouldn't be a complete replacement. It would. I feel like it would be the same thing. Like, yeah, you're there, but you're not, and you would know you're not. It wouldn't have the same feeling. So you would still want to go. You know, the Grand Canyon. You still want to go actually experience the Grand Canyon, no matter how good the AR Grand Canyon is. But you know, because I don't think like, oh, well, I've been to the AR Grand Canyon 800 times. I still think the real one's gonna have something more, in that AR Grand Canyon's not gonna take
Yeah.
away from
It's
it.
called gravity.
Amazon
people
workers.
people go there and they have the urge to jump
Yeah,
because it's so majestic and like the weight.
Yeah.
You want to look down. Like you don't get that just through
Yeah.
a
There's
flat
Amazon
view.
workers
Yeah.
peeing in trash cans and bottles so that they don't miss their mark because they taking bathroom breaks.
yeah.
Which
So AI is supposed to literally tom them to their items.
Yeah.
Which I think those were a few extreme cases of that, and I think that was a bit exaggerated from my understanding.
Yeah, I think that was one of those things that it was I mean, you always have overachievers. I think it was more of a, they weren't required to do that. You had overachievers who were like, well, I'll just do this.
Like I think they made bonuses if they did that, so they were going
Huh.
through that extreme of peeing.
Yeah,
like
to
that.
get more bonuses. And
bonuses.
it's like, you know, it
I
wasn't
hear
like
that their working conditions in their fulfillment centers are actually pretty bad.
Oh,
well, now I've met someone who works in a fulfillment center.
Uh-huh.
I have a friend who lives in Wisconsin, up in Kenosha. They have a fulfillment center up in Kenosha. We went to my buddy's wedding up there, and some of his friends got to talking around. One of them worked at that fulfillment center, and I just asked him, like, so, you know, there's rumors online of their work conditions being crappy, whatever. What's it like? Like, not that bad. Like, now other fulfillment centers, whatever their managers, whatever, how that is, maybe.
Yeah.
The one I'm at, no. So it almost sounds to me like it's less of a company-wide policy that causes those things, and maybe crappy
Independent management.
supervisors, yeah, in each one. So it's a,
You get that almost anywhere.
yeah, I mean, it's a,
I've had good managers. I've had bad managers.
exactly. That'd be like someone being like, oh, you know, the management at McDonald's is terrible. They're mean to you. They talk down to you, everything else. Like,
It must
Well,
be
yeah,
systemic
maybe-
because it's in your existence.
yeah,
in your realm.
Yeah, I mean, it's like, well, yeah, at that McDonald's it is. You know, for all we know, that, I don't know, I haven't looked into it enough, but that could have been one shift with one crappy manager in one place that it happened to a couple people, and it's like, well, if that's the way it is, then you can't blame all of it. Like, and maybe not. Maybe it was a systemic thing that has since been taken care of. And
Yeah, so yeah, I'm gonna pull that up. So these are apparently images of patents. And that is the location system used to increase their efficiency. Now, if they turn that into a game, actually, if I were doing something like that, like just to help my workers feel better about moving around, I'd put a calorie counter in there.
put a calorie counter in there.
Step counter.
Put a point system in there for different things. To
Allow
turn it
them to
into a
export
game.
the data.
Yeah. Yeah. There's a lot of awesome stuff. On top of that, even without those things, that's an awesome idea. Being able to have that for your directions to get where you need to go. I mean,
I bet before they do it, they're gonna have to work with OSHA real hard.
Do you think?
Well,
Because of the way AR works, is you need a slightly opaque lens, so that creates a visibility hazard, especially when you've got shelves that are 4 or 5 times your height. That
you would have to
around.
make sure that they're all connected to where you're not colliding with other people.
Not even that, but like OSHA would probably get in there and do their thing. They'd take the set and they'd say, you can't see well enough out of this periphery. You can't see well enough out of this periphery. It's too dark at this spot. You need to lighten the screen.
And I get that, but at the same time, could it not be an argument to make things safer in the fact that you don't have people wandering where they don't need to be? So people are more direct in where they need to go. They're not in the way of other things happening because this is going to route them away from that. If there's some sort of construction going on, whether it be renovations or new building or anything else, you don't wander into that on accident because this is programmed to keep you away from it.
Yeah. I'm talking more like in a workplace standard.
Well, that's what I'm saying. In a workplace, like say you're in an Amazon warehouse.
Oh, I got you. So if you're on a construction site.
Well, not even on a construction, just in the Amazon warehouse. Say there is a part of the warehouse that there was a leak in the roof, and so now they have forklifts over there and scissor lifts, whatever, because they're working on that. These can be programmed to keep people away from that while they're working.
Yeah.
Oh,
you know what I mean?
Yeah.
Shadow Luna says AR is used in his job somewhat already, but you have to use it in only certain conditions. In this case, it's to look at parts placed within a machine. Okay, so it's like HoloLens was showing a couple years ago when the dad was helping his daughter place a pipe in. He literally loaded up an image of a pipe and then placed it in physical space where she should put it.
Yeah.
So it's kind of like that. So it seems that there are some regulations already within Works,
but
if I'm understanding him correctly.
That sounds perfect, though.
Yeah, I mean...
But it seems that it's limited to not a whole lot of, and correct me if I'm wrong on this, mobility. That is, you aren't going to be wandering the warehouse with this running all the time.
Yeah, I mean, the idea of it being on all the time and turning it into some sort of game where it's a point system, to me, that makes me want to go work there. That sounds like a blast. It's like, I don't know. That's how I motivate myself. Competition is the way I am motivated. That's.
Oh yeah, no.
That's the only. Some people are just self motivated. They can do what they need to do because they know they need to do it.
Some people need
that
a goal.
Sounds insane to me. To me, I create competitions within things that are not competitive just to get myself to do stuff.
Having something to shoot for.
Yeah, I mean, not even necessarily a goal, but it's like, I can do this faster than that person. That person has no clue that it's competition, but in my mind it is just because that's the way I am. So you turn it into a game system where everyone's doing it, or people who opt into the game version of it. That sounds super fun.
I'm curious for AI and augmented reality. A weird thought popped in my head because I was thinking about augmented reality for the blind. I don't have an ingenious enough idea for the deaf yet, but for the blind, well, I guess the deaf would still do vision, so then I'm out of there.
Well, with cochlear implants,
but with even blind, but with people that are blind, you could literally create forest soundscapes, like what it sounds like on mountaintops, things like that, and they could experience it in their own way through AR.
For blind people?
Yeah. They're not going to go wandering through forests and things like that generally without somebody with them, correct?
But if you're just talking about the sounds,
I mean, I know you could get those, but
I have Spotify.
But I mean,
you can get them.
So you say you have, say you have, because a blind person will, in my understanding, will learn the environment in which they live pretty good to move
Yeah.
around. So what happens from there is that it becomes an active changing soundscape. That is, as you move
Okay.
around your living place, you can walk through
I
it.
see what you're saying now. That sounds
So
cool.
it is
I'm
augmented
not
reality
even
with
blind,
sound.
and I would like that. Like,
That's what I mean. But and that would also be filtered into like a visual. For instance, if you were using AI with this kind of system, you could literally put a forest around everything. You're no longer walking through a warehouse. You're walking through a forest. Obviously, your emergency symbols, things like that, are highlighted in high contrast against.
yeah,
But you have all the soothing sounds, like say you have a babbling brook
yeah.
or birds chirping, and it alters in real time as you move around.
Yeah, I mean that would be. Yeah, I would do that like in my own house, as it is. Like, set up a room that looks like a jungle, trees and vines and crap everywhere, and then when you go in there, all the sounds of the jungle automatically happen.
There we go.
I could just have those sounds playing in them.
Put speakers in the corners.
Now, when you say that would be unsafe because of visibility, you're talking about like the like a forest, right? I was just giving an example. If that's what you're referring to, I was just giving an example of how AI could be used to change AR, because nobody's going to tell you not to put a forest in your home. Somebody will tell you it's probably not the best idea to overlay everything in your home with something else, but someone's going to do it.
Well, the thing is, you just turn it off. Like if you have to go take a bath, you shut everything down to where you just see everything as it
In
should
fact,
be.
my idea is inspired by, I think it was an animation I saw, either that or a movie, where the entire apartment this person lives in is in white. Everything, the couch, everything is a white surface, and you pick your mood, and it puts an overlay on everything. So say you want classical Victorian. All of a sudden, everything is now classical Victorian. White is used since you have a translucent screen to see with. So it overlays everything. So you're now in a classic Victorian home, but it's all your stuff exactly where it's supposed to be, and it just uses the for lack of a better phrase, as a placeholder. Your home is a placeholder for AI or augmented reality AR. So that's what and I think that yeah. I think he's moving on with something about OSHA. I'll wait for the. I think there's a follow up, so I'll wait for that to come in. But I think that you could find a way to make things happen. I think limited soundscapes, but OSHA would have to really get in there and say, okay, you can only have things up so loud. You can only have things in so much visual field. Because OSHA's going to say.
Well, I can see OSHA turning it into something to make things safer too.
Yeah.
That you can put,
and he was saying that about like the warnings on cars, things like that.
Yeah, I mean you can put big floating like "Do not walk here" signs that are smack dab in front of your face. It's not just a cone. Like it's not a wet floor sign. Like it's a giant wet floor in your face.
Or
you're
even
not gonna miss it.
AI could let it highlight the puddle.
Yeah, I mean, any of that stuff that you could. I feel like there's a lot of safety benefits that it can have.
Yeah.
On top of it, that I think would be the kind of thing that would most definitely be implemented alongside of
and that
the.
Yeah, I see what you're saying, but he's kind of like
fun stuff.
He says, saying AR would be difficult in a work environment, and I agree. But Amazon, if anybody has the money to work with OSHA to find a way to make that work, but having never worked with AR and not knowing the state of it outside of looking through a lens through a camera on a phone, I'd have to actually see these things, the HoloLens, all these things in action, because you really need to know, because as you get older, your vision dims, and dim is, for lack of a better phrasing, things seem darker, and it just happens over time. So when you're adding that occlusion with that screen, it can only get worse. So you'd have to have, at the very least, varying tints. Now, I've seen newer technologies, and I'm not sure how that's going to go with our biology, that literally laser the information into a So you wear a set of transparent glass, or translucent, I think is the word I'm looking for, and it literally shoots a camera into the frame, into the lens. You have to actually be measured for these, by the way. And it shoots a camera into the lens, and it hits the lens at just the right angle that it reflects into your eye and onto your retina. So you're literally transmitting video into your eye in a sense. And the reason I say compatible with our biology is, could that be damaging? I mean, obviously, if you have a too high power frequency, you could blind yourself. But that would almost seem, if we could get the technology much more accessible and improved upon, to putting AR that way would almost be a better way.
Yeah, I mean, the thing with, you know, your eyes dimming as you get older and everything, that's also one of those things. Could the AR
brighten it up?
Be a fix for that? You just brighten it up. I mean, what screen have you ever had that you can't adjust your settings on? I mean, in our lifetime, probably none.
Yeah.
Yeah, you know, so you set the brightness higher. Now all of a sudden you can drive at night again. You know, like,
I miss my tinged pink CRT monitor.
But you know, it's one of those things that I think
There's a give or take here.
Yeah.
And you got to find, you know, where that kind of that middle ground is. I think it's an interesting concept, and I think it's something that should be looked at. I mean, and combining that with all the other wearable tech, you got alerts on your wrist. Taptic Engine from Apple is actually really good for that. I've not used like the Samsungs, but I've used many smartwatches. Most of them are failed. They were mild success, but most of them have fallen to the wayside or disappeared or been eaten up by another company for their technology.
Well, and I've gone through a few different smartwatches myself, and for the most part, they're useful, but they have more drawbacks than they do. And there's more cons than there are pros with them. I don't wear one right now because it was another thing to keep up with.
You gotta make sure it's charged.
You gotta, another thing to make sure it's charged. Another thing that you get used to having, and then whenever it messes up or whatever, then you're wanting to go spend money on a new one because you're used to having it and all this stuff. And you look at all of that and then you go, really the only thing it did was when I got a text message, I didn't have to pull my phone. Like I just got to see what it was. And then if it was something that I needed to respond to, I still pulled my phone out of my pocket. So it's like,
oh, I'm pretty good at texting from my watch.
Wow, good for you.
Scribble.
Part of it was
something just fun about it.
Yeah, part of it was that the two watches that I used, the texting from them was not.
Was it Pebble or?
I had a Pebble, and
those are the greatest ones by far.
The battery life on the Pebbles was amazing.
I've actually still got a Pebble 2 Color.
I've still got mine.
Not been opened.
I've still got mine sitting up there, or sitting in my house. That is, I would actually probably put that one back on and wear it if I could find the charger for it. I have no. You have an extra?
No, I've been trying to find one because I loaned one out to my mother for the first one, and she misplaced the charging cable. I'm like, oh, crap.
Yeah, that's.
But proprietary charging for the win.
Yeah, the Pebble was great, and then I had what was the next one that I got?
Galaxy Gear?
No, it was backed by Google.
Wasn't an LG, was it?
No, I cannot remember the name of it.
There's so many Google watches now.
Yeah.
Well, relative to other.
But it had a lot more features than the Pebble, which most smartwatches do. Pebble was really basic, but that was part of what made it great.
Is even if you didn't have your phone with it, it was still a good watch.
Yeah.
And occasionally you could play Tetris.
It's gonna bug me, but I just found myself fiddling with it and being frustrated because it wasn't doing what I wanted it to do, or it wasn't doing
it
wasn't, the user interface was not easy enough. and the battery life on it was not good, which was probably the most frustrating part of it. That, like, I already have my phone that I got to keep up with. I have to have an external battery with me throughout the day because I use my phone way more than any person should use their phone.
Know the feeling.
I
I read all my textbooks on my phone, so I get like
yeah,
my screen time at the end of the week is like, you average used your phone 8 hours a day. It's like, you don't remind me that most
Yeah.
of that's textbook reading.
yeah. Well, and that's the thing is, I'm a delivery driver. I in a van for 8-9 hours a day, and I have my phone mounted to the dashboard, and I have YouTube videos playing all day, every day. I mean, they are. I probably watch 8 to 9 hours worth of YouTube a day, and it's while I shouldn't say watch. I listen to and occasionally glance at because it's while I'm driving, but it's I already have to keep up with making sure that thing's charged all the time.
Yeah.
I don't need a watch that dies halfway through the day and I have to put that on the charger too. Like, it's just a
And the only one I've really been happy with is the Pebble in my Apple Watch. And the reason I like the Apple Watch, if I'd like to move up to a new one, because I've still got the Gen 0, would be the ability to have the cell phone away from phone.
yeah.
And still my same phone number, because I'm the kind of person, and I hate to admit it, that I feel lost when I forget my cell phone. But that would give me that semblance of that if the day is just going too quick and I leave it behind at home, that I can be like, cool, if an emergency pops up, I got my link, we're good. And in general, I always have music to listen to. It just keeps me moving forward sometimes. So the watch allowing me to keep like maybe one or two of my favorite albums, I can listen to them anywhere, is nice. But like those are really luxury ideas of using it.
Yeah. Well,
So if you're looking like a practical sense, I don't think that a smartwatch is for everybody. But they're good for tracking health too. Like the new Fitbits the new Fitbits. I've seen them. I thought it was an Apple Watch because it looked so nice, and I was like, these things are moving up. They're really nice.
Yeah. Well,
they bought Pebble.
Yeah, they bought Pebble. It made a huge difference when they bought Pebble, which
It's a shame.
I don't know.
Pebble was so simple.
The fitness side of things is not something I'm super concerned with personally, so it's hard for me to go spend the money on the Fitbits because I don't know. I haven't paid a lot of attention to them. Maybe the newer ones aren't as centered around fitness. Maybe they have more of the features that I would care about, but
they still look to be heavy fitness centered.
Yeah,
which is okay. That's their market.
Yeah, that's their market. That's fine. It's just the thing that sucks about it is I really like the Pebble, and they bought a Pebble, and so now I can't. I don't know. I think
that e-ink display was just great.
I think if Google really put their time and effort into like a Pixel watch if they really put their effort into it and did that, they could come up with something comparable to the Apple Watch, I would probably jump on board with that and at least give it a shot. That's about the only thing that would get me to buy another.
I just don't feel like Google's innovating in newer industries now, but I just don't feel like they care to innovate in the cellular space.
No, I don't.
Not even in wearables, which seems weird because that market's only going to grow.
Yeah, wearables are going to be. I mean, taking it back to the AR, wearables are eventually where all
phones
of this is
will
going.
go away.
Yeah, well, I mean, what?
Because it'll all be in your glasses.
Yeah.
Or whatever you choose to be your accessory.
Yeah, something is going to be
like people are working on smart rings now that track your health for you. So they use battery, no
saw
screen,
one of those not too long ago.
It monitors pulse, it monitors aux rates. I don't know how accurate it is, but that's still an idea. Like it monitors your sleeping patterns.
Yeah.
But that's, I mean, excuse me. We're getting to the point where you're gonna be able to buy a hat that'll just scan your brain actively.
Yeah. Well.
Oh, thank you.
Your waves are a little out of whack, bro. It's gonna pop up on
Neuralink?
your Doc Bro's gonna pop up on
Are we talking about Neuralink
Okay,
now?
no. Here's the thing. If
Doc Bro's gonna pop up.
If someone is having an issue like that, and you can't tell by their facial cues or their body movements, then there's something wrong with you also. Because if someone's having a neurological issue, you should be able to tell physically.
Sometimes you can't.
Yeah. I mean,
sometimes it's like literally, it's literally the smallest personality change that somebody that even knows them is like something's off, but
You don't know what
it
is.
could be a bad day.
Yeah.
Like it could literally be like
well, and
they just pause a little bit longer here, and if you've seen it before in their life if they've ever done that, you might go,
Yeah.
they may be upset today.
well, and that's also one of those things that it's like in the case of a stroke, for instance, right? Like the
There's some
faster
weird tales.
the
Okay,
faster you
alright.
get
Yeah.
treatment, the less damage it's going to do to you in the long run,
Yeah.
right?
I guess so.
So if you had something like that on, that it could tell that it was about to happen before any
Or it
physical
was
signs
coming,
were
yeah.
showing, it might be the difference of I can walk and I can't walk.
Or speak.
Yeah, or speak,
Okay. Yeah, I guess.
So I could see something and benefits like that. I also see that turning into that's a slippery slope of having something like that. No difference than the DNA stuff that
Yeah.
Steven was talking about earlier, that
Yes.
where does that data end up going and who ends up using it
Yeah.
for terrible things. I mean, I think that's the fear with any technological stuff at this point, mostly because of Facebook and Google storing all that information and selling it off. It's like, I think this conversation 10 years ago would be completely different, because I don't think that was in everybody's mind of, oh wait, these companies are storing your information and selling it. Like that's
Yeah. Well, see, the thing is, there's a big benefit to all this, all the advancement, but the big companies always break in from it, and
yeah, I mean, there's a yin and yang, right?
oh, yeah, but we just have to make sure we keep them in check,
Yeah.
and that's the thing, because people will get lax about it, because they'll get used to everything, and then companies will start slipping in,
Which is already happening. It's like
It's
if
scary.
if Facebook would have shown up on the scene exactly as they are today, if that's how they were brand new, people would have been like,
Yeah.
not using that. You're crazy.
Yeah.
But as they slowly slide in, people go.
Well,
I mean, like myself, I go, oh, you mean you're going to take my information and send me advertisements of things I actually like? Okay.
Yeah.
Like, that's fine. I would much rather, if you're going to send me advertisements, I'd rather it be crap that I like than stuff that I have no care about.
Yeah.
Like, at least, I mean, I guess maybe that's a bad thing. Maybe it kind of,
Well, no.
you kind of end up in like a little hole of just things you like and don't, maybe there's stuff out there you like better that you're never exposed to it. You don't know. But
Yeah.
I don't know.
I just tend to look at the cynical side of things first when it comes to these technologies, because of how reckless they could get with it if they really wanted to.
You talk about the people of the company. I've been catching a little bit out. I was trying to adjust the
Same
setting.
thing. The people or the company get cynical with these advancements. That's why I tend to look at it cynical first, because I want to see where it could go. But even though there are, like you said, there are benefits, the whole stroke and everything, all that.
And I agree. I mean, I think you have to look at the bad side of it, and be aware of it.
Yeah.
But my personal thing is, what are the good things that are going to come out? It's like,
Yeah.
and you're going to
Then you become a classic ethics argument. Does the good outweigh the bad?
Yeah, well, and you're going to take swings and you're going to miss. Same as we were talking about with the watches. I was excited about it. I was like, this is awesome. Like,
I miss my Pebble.
I'm going to be able to text people. I'll still have my phone with me, but
It sounded so good.
it's going to be right. It's going to be so much more convenient. And then whenever it boiled down to it, it's like, this is not
Actually,
more convenient.
One of the most unique things I saw never came to fruition that I was excited about. So finish your thought and I'll let you know.
Yeah,
You'll
but
be interested.
So to me, it's one of those things that it's like, I'm always excited about what the new cool thing's going to be and where it's going to take us. And I guess it's easier for me to look at the positives than the negatives.
Mm-hmm.
I don't know. I guess I'm an optimist on a lot of the stuff, that it's how can this better us and move us forward. Yeah. Everybody, you're a working person. Your dream is to be able to retire and this and that and everything else, right? Like eventually you want to get to the point you don't have to work and you can go do fun stuff
I'm
all
just
the time.
kind of weird. I feel like I want to die at my desk. And I don't mean like in a negative light, but like I will get bored if I don't have something
Well,
that I
but-
need to do every day.
Yeah, but the thing is, wouldn't you rather be able to go, the thing I need to do is the thing I want to do, as opposed to most people. In a perfect world, everybody's job is the thing that they want to be doing,
Yeah.
but that's not reality. Most people end up at a job that's not what they want to do. They do the job to be able to afford the things they want to do, right?
Yeah.
For the most
Yeah,
part.
okay.
I mean, you find one that you don't mind as much as other ones, but it's still not the thing you want to do for most people.
Yeah, I'm such an oddball in that sense.
Yeah, well,
But
maybe the thing that you want to do happens to be a mundane
I just
thing to other people.
I just have a heightened indifference for some reason. I'm kind of like, I could be doing this. I mean, I'd like to do that, but if I don't,
Yeah, but
it's so weird.
either way, I feel like technology eventually gets us to the point where we spend less time working on the things we don't like and more time doing the things we do like. However that works out.
Developers of software, just get your bugs out first.
Yeah.
Or at least the big ones.
And to me, things like AR, or even to the point of like what we were talking about with the Amazon AR of turning work into a game. It's like, okay, so you're doing things that you necessarily don't care about, but there's a way to make it fun and entertaining and not.
The time passes enjoyably.
Yeah. That's where my perspective is. But at the same time, there are a lot of downsides to it. That
I'm just trying to adopt a whole new perspective. Like where I used to go to work and be like, man, I got to work with some people, or I got to work with like at other jobs. Be like, I hate working with this person, ruin my whole day. And somebody said something to me a while back. I don't remember exactly how they phrased it. They said, look, you get to decide how your day goes at work.
Yeah.
Even if you're the one busting your butt and doing all the work, moment you start thinking about that, your day is ruined.
That's right.
So if you go into work and you just know that you do your job, and if you're doing extra, just think of it, I'm doing extra. And don't even bother to consider what the person around you is doing. You will infinitely be much happier, much more presentable. You might even end up liking the person next to you. You don't have to like his actions, but if you don't think about it,
That's right. Well, and
it
that's
won't
something I try to
influence
beat.
the way you are.
That's something I try to beat into my kids' heads. Like, worry about yourself and what you're doing, and don't worry about what the other person's doing unless it's going to harm you.
Perspective
That's the only time you
changes a lot.
If it's going to harm you, worry about it. If it's not going
Or
to harm you,
or somebody else.
eh,
within reason.
unless it's somebody you like.
I mean, I don't know that I don't know that if like, you know,
It's
if
harming somebody.
I
you
don't know that I'd
like.
want my heart surgeon doing certain things and somebody not going, Doc, this is probably not the best time.
Well, yeah. Okay.
That's what I'm saying, like more in those extreme situations.
Yeah, in extreme.
You will know when it's time to say, okay, enough's enough.
Yeah, but it's still one of those things that it's a.
But yeah, I get your base point. It's like that when you take care of you, the rest will follow.
Yeah, well, and I think that like with this Amazon AR that they could turn it into a game while they're working. You're spending less time worrying about what the other person's doing and more time about how good you're doing. You know,
I find that my work improves when I do that.
yeah. I mean, if you're concerned with yourself, you're gonna do a better job at stuff, or you're gonna
You spend
get in your own head
and you spend
decide
so
you
much
hate
time.
yourself.
Yeah, you spend so much time making everyone else. If you spend making everyone else the object of your gruntlement, you're gonna end up making mistakes. Then it's gonna compound because you're gonna be mad at yourself, or as you said, you might get caught in an own tangent where you don't like yourself. But
That's what I do.
you gotta pick a perspective and stick with it. Is the gist of what was told to me, and that will make all the difference in your day. And I'm kind of like, it took me. I'm still learning to. I'm still learning.
You got to remind yourself to apply those types of things. It's not your natural reaction. Your natural reaction is to get mad at people. It's easier to blame another person.
Than take it on yourself. But yeah, I don't know. Some good conversations this morning.
All right.
We're hitting right at that point where it's a extra hour. So, well, I've had a good talk. We appreciated interaction. Thank you, Shadow Luna.
Yep.
And for the input.
Yep.
If you have an opinion about whether or not we consider a separate cast for these kind of conversations, I mean, yeah, you
No,
can.
No, I'm kidding.
There's an opinion. There's a
No.
suggestions box down below
Yeah.
on our stream.
We
Let us
are-
know. We're
yes,
open to suggestions.
Very open. We like suggestions actually.
Yeah, because sometimes, especially when we're all busy, topics
Mhm.
are a little last minute. So, if you have a suggestion of a topic we could throw in, it'd be fun.
Yep.
If you do like what we do, we are working on YouTube.
Yep.
Upload last week was missed because of work and school. So this week it'll be a double upload, triple when I cut this video in half. But I don't know. Maybe I'll put part B, A, and B. A just covers the gaming aspect. But yeah. So
That'll be a
thank you
DU.
for joining us. We hope you have a great day. It's been a lot of fun, and
Yeah.
we'll see you next time.
See you later.
Where am I? Does my faux buttons work now? Let's see here.